Testing. Okay, we're tested. We're ready to go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Cool Beans Hot Stuff. Today is Terrifying Tuesdays, which means we're going to go over some kind of creepy, freaky, weird, macabre, odd, maybe history orientated. I don't know, something freaky about our world that we live in. Some cool, interesting, freaky facts, right? So, today I have a pretty dope stream set out for you guys, I think. Pretty nice. Today is also the first day that I'm streaming on YouTube, too, for the first time. So this is only my second day streaming at 11 a.m. in the morning. You think I'm liking this new schedule, too. I think I like waking up. I did have a little bit of a late start this morning. I had to update some audio drivers in the computer and then fuck with them and get them working again. So starting just a teeny tiny little itty bit late, but not too late. We're still running good. And then streaming on YouTube for the first time. And I don't know how that's going to go. So we're just kind of winging it. I don't know if I'm going to keep streaming on YouTube, but I figured, fuck it, I would give it a try. I thought I had to wait 24 days before I could stream on YouTube. And it turns out I only had to wait 24 hours, right? So, but yeah, so I thought I'd give it a shot and see how that works today. You'll probably, if you do find this video on YouTube, it's probably not the live stream. I'm probably going to take the live stream off of YouTube, chop it up, because I'm pretty sure that I get copyright struck on YouTube for my intro music, because the intro music, I think, there's only rights to play it on Twitch, not YouTube. So I get copyright struck for that. So I'll probably take the video down, chop it up, throw it back on the channel. And so if you do see this video later on my YouTube channel, it's probably not the live stream. But still, we're trying out new things today. So I'm pretty stoked seeing how it works. I also, because I just updated my audio drivers, hopefully we don't get any of that nasty crackling again, right? I have been fucking with that for 2 whole months. I have been trying to get this crackle out of my bullshit. And I think I finally, today might be the last little itty bitty straw that breaks that fucking bastard camel's back. So, yeah, I've been, swapping different drivers in and out, changing what part of the PCU does this. I've been getting into the registry. I've been updating my BIOS, just all kinds of god-awful things that I never thought I would ever have to learn how to do for comfort's sake. But now I know how to do it, I guess. And slowly, bit by bit, the audio for my stream has gotten tad bit better. So hopefully today's the last little bit we got to go. Hopefully we don't hear any crackling this stream. I don't know. I'm kind of keeping an eye out for it, but I keep my volume down low so I can just hear myself in my room. So I'll listen back and we'll see. But cross your fingers for me, right? Okay, anyway, so bore you with all that bullshit. Today, for Terrifying Tuesdays, probably already seen the title of the stream, YouTube video, wherever you're watching this. And wherever you're watching this, by the way, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy the stream. Hope you enjoy the content. If you do, leave a like, subscribe, maybe give me a follow. I would really appreciate that. And if you enjoy this kind of macabre, weird, oddball topic matter, then make sure you check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. They're under the Terrifying Tuesday playlist, where I have about 2 months saved up of doing streams about scary shit. Only been doing this for 2 months, so this starts in month number 3, started yesterday. So I don't know. Go ahead, and if you like it, leave me a comment. Let me know how you think I'm doing. If you think I suck at it, then leave me a comment. Let me know that you think I suck at it. But yeah, so we're gonna jump into this today. Like you probably saw the title, we're gonna go over the FBI's 10 most wanted list. So first, we're gonna dive into a little bit of history about the list, all the whys, whens, wheres, and whos, who started it, why they started it, how they started it, when they started it, all that good stuff. And then we're going to go over interesting facts about the list. Interesting facts here. Get my note card. Like, who was the first person on the list? Who was the longest running fugitive on the list? The first fugitive on the list to get caught? The shortest stint on the list? The fugitive that had the shortest time on the list? And that's not the same as the shortest fugitive on the list. I unfortunately couldn't find that information. I know you're really wanting it. And the biggest reward that was ever on the list in the history of the list. And then the top 10, more or less, worst, scariest, most fucked up fugitives on the list. Because this is Terrifying Tuesday. This is what we kind of do here. We go over fucked up shit. That's the fun of it. And then we're going to go over the current list, obviously, right? Because there is 10 baddies that are still out there in the world, and y'all need to protect yourselves. Wu-Tang said, protect your neck. So I'm going to give you the list just in case you see one of these baddies. You can punch him in the face, run away, decide what you want to do with it. But yeah, so anyways, that's what we're going to go over today. And first, we're going to start with the video. I got a YouTube video here just from NBC News. The FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive list turned 75 years old this year. So it's been a full 75 years since the 10 most wanted fugitive list has existed. So without further ado, I'm going to pop you over to the YouTube screen. Throw already got subtitles. Okay, yeah, let's check this out. Celebrate the 10 most wanted fugitive list turning 75.
This former Canadian Olympic snowboarder, now an accused drug kingpin, recently became the latest addition to an iconic list, the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. Today is the 75th anniversary of this mother of all top 10 lists.
We're showing a series of the 10 most wanted men in the country, wanted by the FBI, born in Philadelphia, height 5 feet 5 inches.
The FBI's historian tells us the list stemmed from a conversation between the Bureau's original director, J. Edgar Hoover, and a reporter.
And he said, look, I'd really like to do a story on those people that you're hunting. Can you give me, some information about some of the most serious criminals that you're looking for? And we gave him a list of 10 and published it. It was popular, and a year later, we made it a program.
The most wanted list has featured all manner of bad actors, from al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden to serial killer Ted Bundy to Eric Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber. The first entrant, Thomas James Holden, shot his wife and her 2 brothers. Willie Sutton, who said he robbed banks because that's where the money is, was the 10th person on the list. The first woman was Ruth Eisman Shear, who kidnapped a millionaire's daughter.
We've had bank robbers, we've had violent criminals, we've had mafiosi, we've had terrorists, we've had child pornographers. And as times change, as our priorities change, as the criminal threats and the security threats that we face change, so too is the list.
FBI officials say the list has been an effective way to focus public attention on wanted bad guys, from the days when it hung in post offices to the internet era.
How effective is the publicity surrounding placement on the list? How effective has that been in helping catch some of these people?
Well, we look at it this way. We've put 535 people on the list to date. We have caught
That's so crazy that it's only 535. I would have expected it to be way more people than that have been put on the list. but only 535. I guess for the most part, most of them stay on the list till they get caught. When we get into like the longest running stints, you'll see that a lot of these guys have been on the list for, upwards of 7-10 years at a time sometimes. And some people actually just get taken off the list because it's been so long since anybody's seen them. They're kind of assumed to be dead, or evidence in the case that they were associated with isn't viable anymore because it's just been too long. So yeah, I guess, yeah, only 500 people on the list in 75 years. But still, it's, the 500 top bad guys. So let's see, what's that? Losing my voice over here. This reminds you of One Piece, the FBI's most wanted list? How's that? Do they have like an FBI's or like a most wanted list, like bounty hunter list? Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, we still need to watch that because they have the live action. They have a wanted list. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we still need to watch that because I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I love my anime, but One Piece was just one that I never got into a whole lot. So we definitely need to check that out. We need to sit down and then I can watch the live action, which everybody said was super dope. So, oh, okay. Yeah, it's like a bounty hunter kind of thing. Sure. Well, yeah, this probably reminds you of it. Then I'm sure that they probably modeled something about that off of this list, right? Like it probably has similarities, anyways, to how they make the list. Yeah, and the One Piece. Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, so FBI's most wanted list, just like the anime.
93% of them. And of those, almost 200 of them have been caught from citizen tips.
Sometimes in the most random ways.
So that's not, I don't know, that isn't the best capture rate, right? 200 out of 530, he said. They said almost 200 of them. So give them the benefit of the doubt, 200 of them. That's just over a third of the people who have been on the list have been caught because of the list. So I don't know, 30%, is that a good track record? I feel like it's better than nothing, right? I guess that's the thing, is all they got to do is make a fucking list. So, that's not the worst thing in the world, but still, I would have thought it would have been way more than that.
Oh, gosh, we've had at least 2 of our top tenors found because of tips from the FBI tour. Someone was visiting to see how the FBI works, saw the list and said, wait a minute, that's someone I think I know.
As for former Olympian Ryan Wedding, the FBI says they believe he's living in Mexico and should be considered armed and dangerous. He's been charged with ordering murders as part of a cocaine smuggling operation. The State Department is offering a $10 million reward for his capture, which FBI officials say is now more likely thanks to his inclusion on the 10 most wanted list.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Dude went from Olympic snowboarder to drug kingpin, right? That's how they all start, I hear. That's the pipeline for drug kingpins. You start snowboarding, then next thing you know, boom, you're shooting people over your crack.
And Ken Delanian is joining us now. It's fascinating, actually, to see kind of how that list came to be. And I know that there's been some changes over the years since it initially started. What are some of the kind of most recent changes to this list?
Sure, Yasmin. Well, look, I'm old enough to remember when this list hung in every American post office.
Yeah.
Apparently, they don't do that anymore. With the internet, they don't have to. So that's been the biggest change is modern communications. They can flood the zone with this list and publicize it everywhere. Another big change is the list is much more international than it was in the days of Willie Sutton. Right now on the list is a Bulgarian crypto scammer, a Haitian gang leader, and a Colombian drug lord, along with sort of run-of-the-mill American alleged murderers. So it's much more international in scope, and obviously we've had Osama bin Laden and other terrorists. That kind of thing didn't exist 50, 75 years ago. So there have been changes, but it's an institution that persists. It's an iconic, really, part of the FBI brand, Yasmin.
Yeah, Ken Delanian for us. Thank you. Really great piece. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Okay. So there you go. FBI's most wanted list turned 75 years old 2 months ago. So happy birthday to them. That's our little intro here. Let me throw you back over. Meow. Hey again. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to talk about how the list first came about. They kind of covered it a little bit in the video, but we're going to go into it a little bit deeper, not much deeper, but a tiny bit, because there's not a whole lot of amazing stuff here, but it is kind of interesting. So for those of you that don't know, J. Edgar Hoover was the guy that created the list, right? And there's a whole bunch of shit you could say about that guy. We could do a whole stream about that dude. I guess we don't really need to, because Leonardo DiCaprio already started a movie about that guy. And if y'all haven't seen it, a little weird. Dude was kind of a goofball, kind of a butthead too, kind of a dick. So, this, I guess, was probably one of his better ideas, but he had a lot of poopy ones in there too. So the FBI Wanted's first poster appeared in 1919. The origins of the FBI bulletin we know today date back to the late 1910s, when the agency, then known simply as the Bureau of Investigation, began producing identification orders to find fugitives. On December 2nd, 1999, a 23-year-old soldier named William N. Bishop escaped the stockade at what is today Fort Belvoir in Northern Virginia. Upon his disappearance, the U.S. Military Intelligence Division asked for help in finding him. Frank Burke, an assistant director of the Bureau, sent a letter to all special agents, special employees, and local officers in an effort to locate Bishop. The bulletin contained a complete physical description of Bishop, down to a mole near his right armpit, along with possible locations he might visit and a photocopy of his recent portrait. Yeah, that's because he was in the Army. They know where every single mole is. With the help of Identification Order Number 1, authorities apprehended Bishop months later in 1920. The bulletin soon became standard procedure for finding fugitives, changing in size to a standard 8 by 8 inch format and including fingerprints, background information by the 1930s. So, I don't know, you could probably say this guy, he's not the first one on the list, but he's the dude that inspired it. Dude that ran away from the Army. I wonder what exactly he did. Did it say? Frank Burke, that wasn't him. It was William Bishop. Escaped from the stockade. I wonder what he did to get thrown in the stockade. Anyways, Hoover created the list in 1950. So most wanted posters appear in 1919. And then we got almost 30 years later, a little over 30 years, Hoover creates it in 1950. Under the guidance of J. Edgar Hoover, who became the acting director in 1924, the FBI expanded in scale. As biography previously reported, the agency hunted down notorious gangsters such as John Dillinger and George Machine Gun Kelly, not related to the musician, and performed domestic counterintelligence, counter-espionage, and counter-sabotage investigations during and after World War II. So when it came to identifying the most wanted fugitives in the United States, Hoover and his agents were the top source. As a result, a reporter for the International News Service asked the Bureau to provide names and descriptions of the quote-unquote toughest guys Hoover hoped to track down for a 1949 newspaper article. According to the CBC, the subsequent story, including the FBI's 10 most wanted list, generated so much attention, and more importantly, so many leads from the public to aid the Bureau's search, that Hoover decided to make an official campaign. On March 14th, 1950, the FBI's 10 most wanted list program was born. So there you go. That's the birth of it. The agency soon learned, that this dual approach was very effective. Within 9 days of Holden's inclusion, 9 additional names were added to round out the list. Of the original 10 fugitives, 7 were captured in 1950 and 2 more by October 1951. The last one, Henry Randolph Mitchell, was wanted for a January 1948 bank robbery in Wilson, Florida. After Mitchell remained on the list for 8 years, a court dropped the charge against him because his prosecutors felt the memories of witnesses were no longer reliable. Yeah, that was kind of what I was talking about. A lot of these guys go on the list and then inevitably get dropped because it's just been too much time on the list. But yeah, that's basically how it was born, right? So pretty simple, pretty easy. They started with wanted posters in 1919, and then by 1950, they had the full-fledged list, and the list was originally just an article published in, CBC? Asked a reporter for International News Service. So the International, I don't even know if the International News Service is still a thing. Like, I haven't heard of that in any time in my life, so that might not even be around anymore. But they published the first article, which Hoover picked up on was pretty effective. The first 10 fugitives put on the list, 7 of them were captured. So they either just got lucky and picked really 10 fucking retarded fugitives, or the list was really effective. I think it was probably a bit of both, to be honest. We are going to dive into these, not all of the 10 first guys, but we're definitely going to hop into the first guy right now. So now you know how it was started. Pretty easy peasy. Not too much to talk about there, but it is interesting. It's interesting to know these kind of things. You know, it's useless information that nobody will ever ask you and it will never help you get a job. But it's still kind of fun to know, right? It's useless information to cram into your brain and sit and think about some point when you're by yourself. Be like, yeah, I never did get any good jobs, and I never did learn any viable skill sets in my life. But damn it, if I don't know how the FBI's 10 most wanted list was started, fuck yeah. So, okay, here's some more useless information to cram in your noggin. The first guy that was put on the list, we already kind of went over this with that video, Thomas James Holden. This goofy, no chin, have an ass guy right here. Look at this guy's face. It's like what is it, like a pencil eraser? He looks like Eraserhead. Really long face, like a Shetland pony or a goldfish. Former 10 most wanted fugitive number 1. On March 14th, 1950, Thomas Holden was the first fugitive to be placed on the FBI's newly created 10 most wanted fugitives list. Holden was arrested on June 23rd, 1961 in Beaverton, Oregon. So he stayed on that list for a full 11 years. Following a tip from a citizen who read a wire service story in Portland, Oregon newspaper, the Oregonian, and contacted the FBI. So 11 years this guy was on that list. And he was the first. So he lasted a lot longer than the other the other 7 members of the first 10 on that list, right? So what did he do? They kind of said it again in the video. So in case you missed it, I'm going to go ahead and reread through it. Plus, I already read this article and saved it so I could read it for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive list has helped track down some of America's most dangerous criminals since 1950. In the last 70 years, more than 500 fugitives have appeared on it. 535, actually, mental floss, excuse me. The first man whose name marked the list was Thomas James Holden. So Holden was no stranger to crime. From 1926, he was one half of the notorious Holden-Keating gang. Together, he and Francis Keating would hold up trucks, trains, and banks for cash. When was this? 1926. Okay. So yeah, that was around like the Dillinger time, the original Machine Gun Kelly, not the one that wears dresses and drinks his wife's blood, but the actual badasses, the ones that actually held machine guns, those ones. And this is, when they would sit and rob trains and banks and do all that crazy shit. Crazy time to be alive in the 1920s, right? The duo got away with hundreds of thousands of dollars before they were apprehended in March 1928, when an accomplice confessed to their part in a train robbery in Evergreen Park, Illinois. Holden and Keating were found guilty and each sentenced to 25 years in prison. But that usually, in 1920s, it never goes that way, right? I don't know if any of you have seen the John Dillinger movie with Johnny Depp. It's an okay movie. It's fine. I liked it. It was decent. They spent way too much time on the whole romance angle. I think when anybody wants to watch a Dillinger movie, I don't know, just me. I feel like when the guys want to watch their Dillinger movie, they're not all up in their feels like, oh, but tell us more about his girlfriend. They're like, nah, watch him killing people. That's what we want. We want him to rob banks and shoot people. So, it could have been a better movie, but it was still a good movie. But if you've seen that movie, then most of these folks didn't stay in prison very long. At least not the smart ones. The stupid ones probably did. But just after 2 years at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary in Kansas, Holden and Keating used fake passes to make their escape. So these guys just used fake passes. John Dillinger infamously used the fake pistol made from soap or wood. Story changes. These folks used a fake pass, right? I don't really know entirely what that means. We have a couple guys on this list that escaped from whatever penitentiary they were in, and they all have some surprisingly uninteresting ways of escaping prison, right? A lot of them just walked out the front door. The guards just weren't looking, so they're like, do, and just walked right the fuck out. So, another nice thing about the 1920s, a bad thing about the 1920s is there's a good chance your bank's going to get robbed. Interesting, cool thing about the 1920s is if you rob a bank, it's easy to get out of prison. So that was nice. So from there, the men fled to St. Paul, Minnesota, where they formed a new gang and resumed their spree of daylight robberies. They also smuggled guns and ammunition into Leavenworth. Their involvement helped 7 other inmates escape. Holden and Keating evaded capture until July 1931 when FBI agents found them and 2 other escapees playing on a Kansas golf course. Armed with only their clubs, the men had no choice but to give themselves up and were swiftly returned to prison. This time, yeah, see, like that's how chill it was in those days for, all the criminals out there. You could literally escape prison and then just go play golf. No, don't worry about it. Well, I guess you do have to worry about it. Play golf with a pistol would be, I'm sure that's the advice Mr. Holden would give you. If you do go to play some golf after you escape from prison, at least have a pistol on. This time, Holden was sent to the infamous Alcatraz, where he served time alongside Al Capone. He carried out the rest of his original sentence and was paroled on November 28, 1947. He returned home to his native Chicago and to his wife, Lillian. But less than 2 years later, Holden again found himself in trouble with the law, as they tend to do. Naughty little Holden here, right? Early in the morning on June 5th, police received a call reporting gunshots from a fourth-floor apartment in Chicago's West Side. When they arrived, they found Lillian, her brother Ray Griffin, and her half-brother John Archer dead on the floor. A spent .38 revolver on a nearby dresser. I have a .38, like a snub-nosed .38. I love that gun. But yeah, gosh, so he killed 4 people, Lillian, her brother, and her half-brother, 3 people, and then shot Griffin's wife, Elva. Elva, that's an interesting name, was also shot but survived. She gave to the police her account, so shot 4 people. According to Elva, the group had been out drinking at a saloon when Holden and his wife argued because she wanted to leave. When the group returned home, Holden began to beat Lillian. When the others came to her aid, Holden opened fire before fleeing the apartment. So, real nasty guy, if you didn't already know that, right? Real nasty dude. Later that year, a newspaper published an article listing and describing the toughest guys the FBI was trying to find. This was that International News article or whatever. What was that place called? International News something. The story was a success, and on March 14th, 1950, the FBI published its 10 most wanted fugitive list, splashing the faces and details of those they consider to be the most dangerous criminals across newspapers and magazines throughout the U.S. Holden, because of his recent crime and past record, was the first person named on the list. In 1951, Holden was captured. Oh, 1951. I thought this said 1961 on the last page, didn't it? Maybe I misread that. So he only survived a year. So he wasn't that badass. He didn't go for a full 11 years escaping the FBI. He only lasted a year. Holden was finally captured in Beaverton, Oregon, after someone recognized his photo in the local paper. He had been working as a plasterer using the alias John Roger McCullough, and was arrested in front of his unsuspecting colleagues. Though he first tried to stick to his story, he eventually admitted the FBI had found the right man. At trial in November 1951, Holden was found guilty of murder and locked up once again, this time for good. He died in prison at the age of 57. Well, that's a bummer for him. That's why you don't shoot people. It's why you don't beat your wife, and that's why you don't shoot people. Guy really, he had a hard luck of it, though. With such an oddly shaped head. Asparagus. That's what he reminds me of. He looks like a head of asparagus, kind of, right? Like stoned, maybe. He looks slightly stoned in this picture. But there's Mr. Number One, right? And kind of funny, too, because if he wasn't number one on the list, nobody would probably ever give a shit about this guy. I'm pretty sure nobody gives a shit about this guy nowadays anyways, but they would give even less shits about this guy if he hadn't been that number one spot. So I guess he kind of got lucky in a way. That was his 15 minutes of fame. So now we're going to move on. We're making really good time. I'm going much faster today. Today's not going to be nearly as long of a stream as yesterday's was. I think yesterday I streamed for 4.5 hours, but I had a lot of people, well, relatively a lot more people than I usually do watching me, so I felt compelled to last a bit longer. Today, though, we're going pretty quick. This next, that was the first member on the list, Thomas Holding. Now we're going with the longest running. So the guy who has evaded capture the longest. And I introduce you to Victor Guerrera. Victor Guerrera? We're going to go with Victor Guerrilla. Let's call him that. I like that better. That's what his name should have been. He should have gotten it changed to Victor Guerrilla. That's cooler. So, Mr. Guerrilla, an armored car guard, steals $7 million to fund a terrorist group. Oh no. What a bummer. Terrorist group. Okay, case details. It was one of the most daring heists in U.S. history. One man single-handedly loaded $7 million into a getaway car and vanished. The robber was a 25-year-old armored car guard named Victor Manuel Guerrilla. That's what we say. A trusted employee at the West Hartford, Connecticut office of the Wells Fargo Express Company. Guerrilla arrived at work on September 12, 1983, as usual, but with a special request. He asked if he could park a car he had borrowed from a friend inside the building to keep it safe. Special Agent Jeff Rovelli from the New Haven FBI describes the car. The vehicle that Victor was driving that day was a 1937 Buick LeSabre. Oh, that's kind of a nice car, LeSabre. Full-size big car capable of carrying a large load, like $7 million large, let's say. That day, Gorilla and his partner made all their scheduled rounds, collecting more than $3 million from local banks and businesses. The Wells Fargo vaults already held more than $4 million. By 9 p.m., Gorilla and his partner and the supervisor were alone in the armored car terminal with more than $7 million in cash. Victor asked for his partner's gun, saying that he would check it in for him. Instead, Gorilla pointed his own gun at his supervisor and ordered both men to the floor. Special Agent Jeff Rovelli explains what happened next. He handcuffed his supervisor's arm behind his back and also taped up their mouths and used duct tape to tape their feet and bind them so they couldn't move. And he put jackets over both their heads so they would not be able to see what was going on. Is this a reenactment over here, I'm assuming? Probably not real pictures of this, right? But there's your reenactment over here. Here's him with the gun. Saying, "Get down, fucker," taping his hands. This is the poor guy over here. He's like, and he's over here loading the money. That's what's happening. Gorilla began to move the $7 million bag by bag. It took the better part of an hour and a half to load his car with roughly a half-ton of cash. Woo. Special Agent Jeff Rovelli believes Gorilla had an accomplice. After the car was loaded, we believe that he sent a signal to someone on the outside that was helping him. He honked the horn and opened the bay door of the terminal. It's believed that at this point, someone else came into the terminal and drove his car out of the terminal with the money inside of the car. Gorilla left the building without harming the guards. Oh, well, see, at least he didn't kill nobody, right? Holden, he went and beat his wife, then shot her, then shot everybody who was trying to stop him from beating his wife, and then even shot the wife of one of the guys that was trying to stop him, like, just for good measure. It was like, blah, you too, bitch, just for standing there. And so, at least this guy didn't kill nobody, right? He did, steal $7 million, though. They soon worked themselves free and called the police, the guys that he, taped up. The next day, Gorilla's car was found a short distance from the Wells Fargo terminal. Victor Gorilla had vanished along with the $7 million. Investigators soon learned that Victor Gorilla was a member of a Puerto Rican terrorist group called Los Macheteros. Cutie Pie, I need your Spanish. Los Macheteros. I think I got that. They were fighting for the independence of Puerto Rico from the United States. Oh, okay. So that's what's going on there. Well, that's a bummer. He probably didn't even get to spend his $7 million then. It just went straight to buying gorilla supplies. Totally killed that name though, right? Victor Gorilla fights for the Puerto Rican guerrilla terrorist organization, right? Totally called that. Flush with millions from the robbery, the terror group purchased a surface-to-air missile. Oh, that's what they decided to buy with it. See, yeah, $7 million. That's a bummer. Dude could have went out, bought himself a real nice house, started a real nice life, and not giving a fuck about nothing. Instead, he's like, oh, let's buy a missile. And what did they do with it? On October 30th, 1983, they launched it at the FBI headquarters in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Little damage was done, and some of Gorilla's co-conspirators were quickly arrested. Well, so that just ended up being a whole bunch of nothing. Victor Gorilla escaped again. He is now on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. Is he still on the list? I got the current list pulled up now. There's no way he's still on the list. He is no longer on the current list. So I wonder when he got taken off. When did this get written? Written in 2017. And this all happened in 1983. Hold on. Let's do a little sleuthing. What was this guy's name? Because I keep calling him Gorilla. Victor Gorena. Okay. How long did Victor Gorena the FBI's most wanted list, right? Because that's kind of the whole reason we're talking about this guy. This guy, 32 years. The longest period of time in which somebody has been on the top 10 list is 32 years. Victor Manuel Gorilla, who was added in May of 1984 and removed in December 2016. Okay, well, there you have it. 32 years. Yeah, that's kind of, the only special thing about this guy. I'm sure there's been a whole lot of guerrilla terrorists that have been thrown on that list since his heyday. So, But 32 years, man. Wow. I wonder why they took him off the list. Surprisingly, there isn't a whole lot of articles written about a lot of the guys on this list. I, unfortunately, for some of them, even have to uh, revert back to Wikipedia, which I don't generally like to do on stream. I don't like to use Wikipedia, but it's, sometimes you have to because there's just no other articles about it anywhere else. So that's Mr. Victor Gorilla, the longest running member of the FBI's most wanted list, all right? And who do we have here? This is the man who spent the most time on the FBI's most wanted list. Oh, this is about Victor Gorilla again. Okay, well, let's go ahead and watch this video. It's a really short one, teeny tiny one by Spowerade. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check it out, see what his video is about, see if he gives us any new information on Mr. Victor Gorilla. Oh, here, let's throw you guys over to the YouTube screen. And we'll pop this up. There we go. Okay, check it out.
Before I start the video, I just want to say thank you for watching, and if you enjoy it, like and subscribe. I'm going to give you a short summary of Victor Manuel Jurena's life and how he became the man on the FBI's most wanted list for 32 years. Most fugitives are found in less than 1 month. On June 24th, 1958, Victor was born in New York. Skipping ahead a few years to his teen years, when Victor was about 14, Victor's mother left her husband and moved her family from New York to Hartford, Connecticut in 1970 to give them a better life. Victor was a popular student at Bulkley High School in Hartford, Connecticut's South End during his years in the early 1970s. During his junior year at Bulkley, Victor was selected to participate in the Upward Bound program. The city's most promising students were given an intensive college prep curriculum of courses at Trinity College in 1976.
Wow. So this guy was pretty smart, too. Well, I'll talk about it when we get off the YouTube screen. But I thought that we were going to have a different story here because there's another story about a really crazy bank robbery that happened. I might pull that story up, but I figured this was a completely different guy. In any case, yeah, he seemed like he was a smart dude, very promising. So he could have done anything with his life, and instead he became a guerrilla terrorist. So sad. Bet his mom is very, very disappointed in Mr. Young Gorilla.
Victor won Buckley's high school $1,000 Jack L. Fox scholarship. He was chosen to be a legislative intern at the General Assembly, and was on an overall good track, and his life was going extremely well. Skipping ahead 7 years, in September 1983, Victor was a member of the Boricua Popular Army, also known as the Machete Wielders, a militant group responsible for a number of bombings. The FBI would probably refer to them as a terrorist organization. He also worked as a Wells Fargo employee, but not just any Wells Fargo, a Wells Fargo armored car facility. On September 12, 1983, Jurena dropped off his girlfriend at Hartford City Hall, where she was to get a marriage license for the couple. He then went to work and spent the rest of the day with co-workers James McKeon and Timothy Garrett. At some point, Jurena removed McKeon's gun. He then handcuffed and tied up his two co-workers and injected them with aspirin and water in order to further disable them. He thought it
We didn't get that in the article. I don't know. Mr. Spowerade sounds like some bullshit to me. Aspirin and water. Can you inject people with aspirin and water and fuck them up? We're going to have to research more sleuthing after the video to come.
would make them sleepy, which obviously it would not. He put $7 million cash in the trunk of his car.
Okay, I guess we don't have to do any sleuthing at all. Mr. Spowerade answered that question for us. I thought that was weird. I was like, fucking aspirin? Like, what? You can disable people by injecting them with aspirin? Like, ooh, okay. That sounds dangerous. I don't know why they would still have aspirin on the market. Turns out you can't. That makes no sense whatsoever, but whatever. Turns out this guy isn't as smart as all the rest of us thought he was. Real fucking bummer. Real disappointment all the way around.
And left with the money. That $7 million at the time would be worth roughly about $18 million as of May 2021, and even more now. It was the largest cash robbery in U.S. history at the time. According to published reports, Victor was transported to Mexico, where he boarded a Cubana jet at Mexico City International Airport, Arriving at Jose Marti International Airport in Havana, that was the last place Llerena was confirmed to be. Years later, a cousin of Victor accompanied journalist Edmund Mahoney to Cuba in an attempt to locate him, but they did not succeed. This is still ongoing right now, and the FBI is offering up to $1 million for information leading to Victor Llerena's capture. As the story ends, Victor is most likely hiding in Cuba somewhere with a new life and the $7 million he stole. There's no crazy ending to the story, but that was the life and story of the man who spent the most time on the FBI's most wanted list, 32 years. Thank you for watching.
Okay. I don't know about that. I'll give him a like because he only has 5. So fuck that. Spread the love. But thank you, Mr. Spowerade. I still am not sure about Mr. Spowerade's researching capabilities here. I think he needs to improve on that a little bit. And hey, that's coming from me, right? I fuck up my research all the time on this channel. I'm still getting the hang of it. But yeah, it sounds like they went and bought themselves a rocket. Fucked that up. And then Mr. Mr. Gorilla ended up spending the rest of his life probably broke as fuck, which is a huge bummer. Honestly, you can't be that smart of a person if you have like scholarships to go to college and all this bullshit, and what you decide to do with yourself and your smartness is join a fucking guerrilla gang, right? If that's your plan for life, you might not be as smart as everybody says you are, right? Then go through all that trouble to steal that money just so your guerrilla gang can go buy a fucking rocket, shoot it at an FBI building of all places, cause little damage, and then get your ass put on the FBI's most wanted list for the next 32 years. This guy was all around. They invented Gorilla Glue. Yeah, so I don't know. This guy didn't seem that smart. I don't think he was smart enough to invent Gorilla Glue. Not Mr. Gorilla. That was another Mr. Gorilla. The one that took his scholarships, went to college, and made his mom proud. Not this guy. All right. So there's the life and times of Mr. Gorilla, the longest running member of the FBI's most wanted list, which, hey, I mean, I don't know if you could chalk that up to being smart or just chalk that up to him being in Cuba, right? No FBI guy wants to go to Cuba and go look for Mr. Gorilla here. That could just be what it is. So we're moving on to the next member of our list. This is the first to ever get caught. So first guy to ever get caught. That's a bummer. See, Mr. Holden was an asshole, total douche, but he had the distinguished honor of being the first one on the list, right? He's in bad guy hell right now, and he's got his accolades, right? All the Capones down there are like, this fucking guy, first on the list, right? And then Victor Llerena, if he's still around, you know, he gets the honorable mentions of being the longest running. He evaded capture for the longest time, right? So as far as like the criminal accolades go, criminal underworld, those are bragging rights, right? That's something that you brag to your criminal friends about. I was on the list for 32 years, never caught me, bro. But this unfortunate poor soul, William Nesbitt, was the first to get caught. He gets no bragging rights. If he's in bad guy hell right now, they're all out down there laughing at him, shoving him into lockers. You fucking nerd, you suck at this. So this guy should have probably just stayed in college. Mr. William Nesbitt, classification murderer. Characteristics, jewel thief. That's his main characteristic, is he's a jewel thief. That's something to put on your resume, yeah. Victim profile, Harold Baker. Okay, that was a victim. Method of murder, gunpowder explosion. So he blew stuff up in South Dakota. Sentenced on May 28, 1937 to life imprisonment, which on February 18th, 1946 was commuted to 20 years incarceration. Wow, so he definitely was there for a minute. So, William Raymond Nesbitt was a 1930s jewel thief born in Marshalltown, Iowa. On December 31st, 1936, he killed fellow thief Harold Baker in a gunpowder explosion in Minnesota County near Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Ooh, I've been to Sioux Falls. He was arrested 26 February 1937 and convicted on May 28, 1937 to life imprisonment, which on the 18th February, I hate when they do that. Over here, they're like 26 February, then right here, they're like May 28th. On February 18th, 1946, was commuted to 20 years. Imprisoned in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, he eventually became a trustee and the personal chauffeur of the warden. Oh. On September 4th, 1946, he failed to return from running errands, and on the 26th of December, 1946, he was charged in absentia with unlawful flight to avoid confinement. On March 15th, 1950, he became the third member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's first ever FBI 10 Most Wanted fugitive list and was arrested in a cave in St. Paul 3 days later. Oh, so he only lasted 3 days, this guy. Again, escaped from prison. Oof. This was in 1950s, so what was that other guy? Holden. Holden only lasted a year, but this guy, he got 3 days, right? He's definitely getting made fun of in bad guy jail. Let's see. On December 22nd, Nesbitt, together with 3 other men, including Harold Baker and his girlfriend, burglarized a wholesale jewelry company in Sioux Falls, Iowa. The proprietor reported more than $37,000 worth of jewels had been stolen. Sioux City, Iowa. There's just Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Sioux this, Sioux that. They're all over the place in the Midwest. After that month, all of the participants drove into Minnehaha. Is that what that says? Minnehaha? Yeah, I'm going with that. They drove into Minnehaha County, and I didn't even have to make that one up, folks. It's 5 miles east of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in order to obtain some dynamite to make nitroglycerin. After getting out of the car, 3 of the men became involved in a fight. The girlfriend got out of the automobile and attempted to stop the fight. As she did so, Nesbitt struck her on the head with a hammer several times. Ooh. Ouch, geez, bro had a hammer. And one of the other men shot her. Geez, wow, that's what you get for jumping in the middle of the fight, ladies. So when your boy's going at it, just let him get his ass beat, I guess. Geez, might get hit in the head with a fucking hammer. That's crazy. And then shot. She was dragged into a powder house. Baker was lying in the powder house, apparently unconscious. One of the men lit a fuse to some gunpowder and fled the scene. Baker's girlfriend, although severely beaten and wounded, remained conscious and was able to crawl away. Oh, well, good for her. The fuse exploded 3,500 pounds of dynamite. Wow, and 7,000 pounds of black powder, killing Harold Baker. Yeah, well, if that doesn't kill him, nothing will. Shit. I mean, that didn't kill him. That incinerated him. That eviscerated him. That just blew him into little confetti, right? The explosion rocked the countryside, shattering windows, mirrors, and glassware in Sioux Falls 5 miles away. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. That's a bit overkill. They really didn't like this fucking guy, right? They were like, shooting him is not good enough. 7,000 pounds of dynamite, dick fuck. That must have been a really intense conversation they were having, right? I don't know if I've argued with anybody enough that I wanted to blow them up with 7,000 pounds of dynamite. Not to say I've ever had 7,000 pounds of dynamite, but if I did, I probably wouldn't use it to blow up my friend over an argument, right? I'm a better friend than that, at least, minimum. While the police were conducting an investigation to determine the cause of the blast, they were advised that a woman had been brought to the hospital and she was suffering from bullet wounds, exposure, and shock. Yeah, and getting hit with a fucking hammer. The investigation revealed information concerning the 3 men, including Nesbitt, who had been responsible for the murder of Baker and for the shooting of Baker's girlfriend. Nesbitt was apprehended in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Ooh, that's where my parents live now. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that on air. Well, I guess Oklahoma City is a big place, but still. Yeah, I know Oklahoma City and Sioux Falls, and never heard of this guy. On February 26, 1937, he was returned to Sioux Falls, where he was tried and convicted for murder and received life in prison in South Dakota State Penitentiary. 9 years later, Nesbitt's life term was commuted to 20 years. Nesbitt, during this term, had become a trustee and was eventually allowed to leave the prison to perform housework, landscaping, and duties as a chauffeur. Well, see, he didn't have it so bad, right? He's over here bitching and moaning about being in prison for 20 years, and the fucking guy gets to, leave, to, fold his clothes and shit. That's better than most people in prison get. On December 1946, a federal complaint was filed before the United States Commissioner at Rapid City, South Dakota. Ooh, I love Rapid City. I don't know if anybody, I don't think anybody's watching right now, but anybody who finds this on YouTube, if you ever go to Rapid City, they have reptile gardens there. Okay, and all boys love reptile gardens. Any man I know thinks, reptile gardens. Nah, well, they go there and they're like, bro, that was sick. It's all alligators and giant snakes. It's really dope. If you're a fan of reptiles, you got to check out Reptile Gardens in Rapid City. My parents used to take me there all the time just so I can look at snakes all day and then drive back to Wyoming. Let's see. Rapid City, South Dakota, charging William Raymond Nesbitt with unlawful flight to avoid confinement, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. The FBI entered the search. In March of 1950, a news article, well, we kind of already know about the article. That was the very first FBI's 10 Most Wanted List article that they're mentioning there. On Friday afternoon, March 17th, a 14-year-old boy arrived home from school and noticed a newspaper on the kitchen floor. As he glanced at the paper, he noted a photograph of Nesbitt and the accompanying article advising Nesbitt was wanted by the FBI. Okay, so it's 14-year-old boy caught this guy. Man, he is not outsmarting anybody. I mean, he is the kind of guy to blow his friend up with 7,000 pounds of dynamite over an argument and then hit his girlfriend with a hammer and shoot her. So, again, I didn't say that we're going to be talking about some incredibly intelligent individuals here, right? Disclaimer, nobody claimed anybody that we're talking about today was intelligent. The boy and his 13-year-old friend spent much of their time playing along the Mississippi Riverbank in St. Paul, Minnesota, with other boys from the neighborhood. Over the past few months, they had become acquainted with Ray, a man who lived in a cave in the riverbank. Oh, how spooky is that, right? Your kid could just be hanging out down by the river, as kids do, I guess, in St. Paul, and be talking with his buddy Ray, who's a fucking murderer. That's crazy. That's spooky. They had become acquainted with Ray. They had visited Ray about once a week for 4 months, beginning in November of 1949. He allowed them access to his cave, occasionally telling them stories about his travels. Finally, in early March of 1950, Ray told the boys to stay away from the cave because they were liable to get hurt. What is this in reference to, cutie? I feel like I've heard this somewhere. It's a game, huh? That's quite a game. Is this a game you used to play with your friend Ray? I think you told me about this, though. I do remember this specific rhyme right here. Oh, that's it, for tag. Okay. Well, as long as you weren't playing it with your buddy Ray down by the river, it was probably safe. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That you when you typed that in, I was like, that sounds familiar, but I don't know where I've heard it from. And I was like, oh, you probably said it to me. So I remember you telling me about that. Y'all had all kinds of interesting nursery rhymes. I guess we did too when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we had some odd nursery rhymes. I can never think of them nowadays, though. You know what I mean? I know there was something about Barney being dead, flushing a G.I. Joe down the toilet, killing a G.I. Joe or something like that. It's been so long, and I've done so many drugs since then that I forget the lyrics. So, hey, don't oh God me, man. You guys are pooping by soda machines. Yeah, you're pooping by soda machines. I was killing Barney. So, a lot of those kids' nursery rhymes were really fucked up when you think about it. Like, you go back to some of them, like you've heard like Ring Around the Rosie, right? Pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Do you know what that's about? You ever heard what that nursery rhyme is about? I should do a story about that. Actually, I think that's on my list. The plague is on my list because there was a lot of messed up shit. Yeah, it was about the plague. Well, there you go. Yeah, I should have known you knew that. I should have answered for you, but you're pretty smart. I figured you knew that. But yeah, that's pretty fucked up, right? Like, that's crazy that that's a child's rhyme. Something about the plague of all. Looks like my NVIDIA stock is up. That's nice. Good to see. Yeah, fucked up nursery rhymes. That's a great idea, actually. Damn. I need to write that down. A stream about fucked up kids' nursery rhymes. Virtual high five, cutie. See? That's what you meant. Okay, yeah, I thought you meant the plague. There's a lot of crazy shit with the plague, too. The plague was a pretty disturbing time in history, so. Fucked up nursery rhymes. Yeah. I can't spell today. That's a great idea for a stream. I'm totally doing that stream. So anybody sees this video on YouTube, that's definitely going to be a stream at some point. Fucked up nursery rhymes. Well, cutie, good minds think alike. Great minds think alike. That's why you're my cutie pie. Think of crazy shit like that. Okay. let's see, where was I at? Oh yeah, he told the boys to stay away because they were pooping by a soda machine. The 14-year-old boy cut the article out of the newspaper, believing the man in the photograph was Ray. The boy took the article to his friend, who thought the man in the photo was thinner than Ray. The next day, the boys went down to the cave to make sure Ray was indeed the man in the photograph. They then telephoned the police and told them of their suspicions. On Saturday morning, March 18th, just 2 days after William Raymond Nesbitt was placed on the top 10 list, Nesbitt was apprehended by police due to the ingenuity, intelligence, and courage displayed by the two young boys. Yep. So, dude got made by two 13-year-old boys. How's that feel? He is getting clowned so hard down in bad guy hell. Let's see. I'm popping this up just to see. Yeah. Looks like my YouTube is still streaming, which is good. Nobody's watching it, but I only have like 13 subscribers on it anyhow, you know. So it is what it is. But yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and pop on over to, who is this feller right here? I forget. This was, we already did the first one to be caught. Okay, but so William Nesbitt, the first one to get caught on the FBI's most wanted list, right? So bummer, dude totally did not get his alkalides. He's not getting his flowers anytime soon. But that actually wasn't the shortest stint. There was somebody who lasted even less time. Nesbitt only lasted 2 to 3 days, depending on who you ask. This poor bastard, Billy Austin Bryant, he lasted even less time on the list, all right? So this guy is like the ultimate criminal clown here, okay? So on January 8th, 1969, FBI Special Agents Anthony Palmisano and Edwin Woodrife were shot and killed in Washington, D.C. while attempting to apprehend an escaped federal prisoner, Billy Austin Bryant. Woodrife was the first African-American FBI agent to be killed in the line of duty. In 2019, the FBI in the city of New York honored Special Agent Woodrife. Let's say Woodriff. I think that's nicer. Woodriff with a street renaming ceremony recognizing his service and sacrifice. Both Woodriff and Palmisano were added to the FBI Wall of Honor. So, Billy Austin is a bad boy. Killed 2 FBI agents after escaping a federal prison in 1969. Here's the 2 FBI agents. Palmisano. He definitely looks like a Palmisano. That guy is an Italian if I've ever seen one. Did you just hear the crackling, cutie? Because I think I heard it. I just heard some crackles, I think. I've been hearing a pop, too. Yeah, you heard it. Damn it. I was hoping it would be gone after installing those new audio drivers, but it is what it is. It didn't sound super loud, for one thing. Like, it was kind of like a soft crackle, like just a little bit, you know? So, I guess it's better than where it was. Where it was like super fucking loud, so. And I keep hearing, there it is again. Gosh. Wow. I didn't think it was happening that often. So, but all right. Well, I'll have to mess with that at the end of the month again. So, and then there's Mr. Woodriff right here. So, these 2 dudes got blasted by Billy Austin Bryant. So, let's read about him. There's so little about Billy Austin Bryant available on the interwebs that I pretty much had to go to Wikipedia to read about him, at least to get all the information on his case condensed into one place, right? So not a lot is known about this guy other than he was the shortest stint on the FBI's most wanted list and he shot 2 FBI agents, and that's about it. So on August 23rd, 1968, Bryant escaped from the District of Columbia Department of Corrections Reformatory in Lorton, Virginia, by using a car he was working on in the automobile shop to drive through a temporary fence at the prison. Yeah, so like I said, these guys, this is even in 1968, these guys really didn't have to be all that original or ingenious. Like, they really didn't have to be fucking MacGyvers over here to escape from prison, right? They could kind of just, grab a car and just go through the prison gates, right? So, nobody, again, didn't say any of these guys were super intelligent, right? But they didn't really have to be, right? Pretty much everybody on this list has escaped prison at least once. And some of them just walked right out the fucking front gate. This dude just drove a car through a fence and he was out of there. He was serving up to 54 years for armed robbery and assault. On January 8th, 1969, the Citizens Bank and Trust Company of Maryland and Fort Washington was robbed by a man who escaped in a maroon Cadillac. I guess we can guess who that was, yeah. Two of the tellers were able to identify Bryant as the robber because he was a customer prior to being in prison. Oh, so this guy even shits where he sleeps. He literally robs people who knows who he is. That's how smart this guy is. All right. Agents knew that Bryant's wife lived in an apartment in the southeast side of Washington, D.C., so they canvassed that area but turned up nothing. Special Agent Palmisano, Woodruff, and a third agent attempted to contact the wife at the apartment. Upon knocking at the door, an individual told them the woman they were looking for was not there and refused entry to the agents when they asked if they could wait. The individual then opened fire through the door, striking Palmisano and Woodruff while the third agent returned fire. Woodruff and Palmisano were rushed by ambulance to a nearby hospital where they were pronounced dead on arrival. So, dude shot him right through the door. Literally robbed people that he knew, escapes from prison. I want to say went through all the trouble to escape from prison, but he didn't even have to do that. He literally just hopped in a car and drove through the gates. First thing he does is rob two tellers that know who he is. Like they didn't have ski masks back in 1968. Like you couldn't put a fucking plastic bag over your head, bro. You couldn't just find another bank that had people in it that didn't recognize you. I mean, it's not like, they have cameras all over the place in 1968, right? But no, dude has to go rob people who know who he is, recognize him, and then he goes to his wife's apartment that they know about, that the FBI, that the police all know about, right? So there's a reason why this guy has the shortest stint on the FBI's most wanted list, right? What was that? Just a couple hours? A day, maybe? 1968, he escaped on August 23rd. Okay, no, wait, hold on. On January 8th, yada, yada, yada. I don't know yet. We're going to have to keep reading before we can do the math on this. D.C. Metropolitan Police and the FBI surrounded the building, but after a siege of the apartment, it was found the suspect had fled through a window using a nearby tree. The third agent identified Bryant as a suspect, and an all-out manhunt ensued. That's probably another reason why he was caught so fast. He killed two FBI guys. Like, I'm sure they were like, get this motherfucker, right? They were pretty pissed off about that. He was subsequently charged with bank robbery and murder and placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list at number 295. So he makes up almost about the halfway point. They've had like 530 people up to date since 2 months ago. This dude's about the halfway point. At 6:50 p.m., only around 2 hours after the shootings, the D.C. Metropolitan Police received a call from a concerned citizen about noises in his attic on Mississippi Avenue. Oh no, this guy just went and hid in some random fucking person's attic, only 4 blocks away from Brian's apartment. Oh. A robbery detective arrived, and after announcing himself, Bryant called for help from the attic as he had trapped himself. Wow. Well, that inspires me for another stream right there, Cutie Pie. I could do a whole stream on stupid criminals, and we would have to talk about this guy all over again. Bro, literally, that is hilarious. I mean, the killing of FBI agents, not so funny. Okay, probably depends on who you ask. I have a few friends that would laugh about that. But not funny. These guys were just doing their job, just knocking on doors and got blasted through the door. Didn't even have a chance, right? But this motherfucker, he hides only 4 blocks from his house, right? After he shoots FBI agents, you got to know they're looking for you. 4 blocks away from his fucking apartment, hides in somebody's attic, and gets himself stuck in it and calls for help to the police to help him. And he lasted 2 hours. Okay, so William Nesbitt, right, he's getting clowned in bad guy hell right now for lasting only 2 days and getting nabbed by a 13-year-old kid. 13-year-old kid is the one that gives up the beans on Ray down by the river, right? Which is weird anyways. Bro's like hanging out with 13-year-old kids down by the river when he's a wanted felon. Not good. Glad that guy got, right? Because he needed to. But now This dude just has to show him up. He's like, oh, I got you better than that, bro. 2 hours. 2 flippin' hours. This guy ends up being on the list before he gets arrested. That's fucking great. There was a funny video about these robbers trapped in a store, and then one of the girls tries to escape through the roof or something, and then she literally falls through the roof. Is that like on an episode of Cops? I've definitely seen some pretty funny shit on Cops episodes or just random YouTube videos. I bet if I went through YouTube collecting funny, seen it on TikTok. Ah, on TikTok. Okay. Yeah, you could go through social media just randomly collecting the world's dumbest criminals videos, and you could make a whole stream about that. I'm sure there's so many funny videos of criminals doing stupid shit because a lot of criminals tend to do that. Let's be honest. Like, for every John Dillinger, smart, charismatic, suave motherfucker out there, there's 10 dudes who are criminals because they couldn't do anything else with their life, right? They couldn't learn a viable skill set. So instead, they just rob banks, right? Which in these days was easy. That was like easy pickings. Nowadays, you need to be a pretty smart dude to rob a bank. Yeah. So in any case, yeah, most criminals are stupid, in my opinion. And I would know. I grew up around a lot of criminals, right? So, and most of them are stupid. So, anyways, he was arrested and later wrote a full confession, but stated he fired in self-defense. Yeah, he would say that. He through the door is self-defense. I don't think that works that way. He was on the most wanted list for only 2 hours, the shortest time in history. On January 28th, 1969, the third FBI agent identified Bryant in a police lineup. On April 10th, he was convicted of escaping federal prison and sentenced to 3 years. On April 14th, he was convicted of armed robbery and sentenced to 20 years. During his trial, the jury could not decide whether he should be sentenced to death or life in prison, leaving it up to the judge to decide. Bryant showed no remorse, stating, "I can't say I'm sorry for what happened to these men. I'm really not interested in what the sentence is, one way or another." Ooh, well, yeah, by that point, he's probably like, fuck it, dude. Fuck me. Like, I suck so bad at this, and this is the only thing I can do anyways. Dude literally got himself stuck in the fucking attic. Oh, that's great. All right. So he doesn't care. He's like, fuck it, dude. I'm peak embarrassed right now. My whole career has been cringe. My life is cringe. How I got arrested is cringed. I'm going to go down as the shortest stint on the FBI's most wanted list. Just fucking kill me. Put me out of my misery. Put me to death. On November 3rd, he was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and received 2 life sentences, one for each agent. Judge Gerard Giselle told Bryant that he would die in jail, but at the time, God so appoints. Bryant died in prison on March 10th. I guess that's when God so appointed. Okay, so there is the trying life and times of Billy Austin Bryant. And, with that goofy, lopsided haircut, he looks like the kind of guy that would get himself stuck in an attic. So, that's hilarious. I love that guy was the shortest stint on the list. It just makes so much sense. Dude gets himself stuck in an attic, running from the cops 4 blocks away from his fucking apartment after he shoots 2 FBI agents, right? Runs to his girlfriend's apartment after robbing a bank where people know him. Saw his face. They're like, oh yeah, that's Bob. Bob comes here all the time. And then this one time he fucking robbed us. Like, you can't make that shit up, man. That is stranger than fiction right there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the biggest rewards on the list. Okay, so here we got a nice little YouTube video. I always like this channel. This channel is called World Data 3D, and it's pretty self-explanatory, not very creative with the title, because it's literally just different types of data about the world shown in 3D. So, not very creative. They don't have to be, though. It's a very enjoyable channel. I'm going to give them a like. We'll subscribe to them just because I'll probably use their videos at some point in the future, because it's real easy information. The way they visualize it, it's really hard to fuck it up. So yeah, they're going to give us the highest rewards in order from least to most. And it's about 4 minutes of it. So let's go ahead, see what they have to say. I'll throw you over to the YouTube screen. And here we are. I don't think we need subtitles on, but let's just see. Okay, check it out. Billy the Kid was a goofy looking shit. Look at that goofy ass face. It looks like he's had his ass beat recently, right? That's definitely a black eye. That's not a shadow. Got a little scrape right there, like somebody poked his eye. Little itty bitty mustache. Give me 1 second here. Let's start the video again. I'm waiting to see if any of our friends that we've talked about thus on the stream appear on this list, right? We're looking out for Thomas Holden, Victor Gerena, William Nesbitt. I would imagine Victor Gerena being on this list, right? Because he was on the FBI's most wanted list for 32 years. So at some point, they did say in the article, I think they said $1 million was what his amount of money went all the way up to before they finally took him off the list. Billy Bryant is definitely not going to be on this list. He only lasted 2 hours. William Nesbitt, he is not going to be on this list because he only lasted 2 days. So Victor Gerena and Thomas Holden, we're looking to see if they appear anywhere on this list. And you can see what I mean by really nice visuals. Really hard to fuck this up. Pretty easy to follow. Ooh, Richard Ramirez. Yeah, he was a bad guy. Also, kind of a goofy looking dude. Kind of feminine, yeah, with the hair. That was the Night Stalker. He was pretty messed up, dude. I definitely, I wanted to do a stream at one point in time on like the most famous, infamous, obviously, serial killers. But that's been so played out that I was like, I don't think I'm going to do a whole stream on that. There's so many YouTube videos already on it. But this guy would definitely go on that list. He was kind of a fucked up dude. Real nutter. Wonder what that guy did. He's got a whole face thing on. Makes me feel like kind of Hannibal Lecter vibes, yeah? Al Capone. You knew he was going to be on there. It would be nice to have a video where they just kind of say, like, right there what all these people did. Yeah. Because I'm interested. I've heard that name, Eugene Palmer, but I don't know what the fuck that guy did. We might have to look it up after the video. Ted Bundy, another famous one. Wow, that's a big jump in cash right there, too. It was jumping by 5,000, 10,000. Then we get to this guy. I feel like this guy, what is it? Is this the Ukrainian flag over here? I feel like this dude, KGB, something like that. He looks like a KGB poisoning kind of motherfucker, right? And Ted Bundy, of course, he looks a lot like the actor. What was that fucking guy's name? From The Evil Dead? You ever seen that, Cutie Pie? The Evil Dead movies? He plays Ash. Bruce Campbell. That looks like Bruce Campbell right there. Oh, we gotta watch that movie. Doodler. They're serious. The guy's name is the Doodler. I mean, there's so many dirty jokes I can make right now. I'm not going to. We need to look that up, though. That's definitely happening after the video. The Doodler. And the Zodiac, another big famous serial killer. That kind of looks like Sean Penn. I feel like we can all guess what those two guys did, right? You can just get it from the names. You don't even need the flags or the uniforms. Oh, okay. We're getting close to the 1 minute. Ah, there he is. Mr. Victor Gorilla. Wow, he was even more wanted than serial killers, Nazis. I mean, like I said, he was on that list for 32 years. So 1 million, yeah, right? I guess not. 950,000. Okay. First woman we've seen on the list. Ted Kaczynski, I remember him. John Wilkes Booth. Well, everybody knows that guy, right? 1.7 million. I imagine in his heyday, he was like numero uno, right? That was probably the highest amount they had ever offered up until this guy right here, right? I got a good story about him that we're going to talk about later in the stream. But yeah, Whitey James Boulder. Matteo Denaro, Italian. Anybody want to guess what this guy probably did? Oh, Guzman, El Chapo. Yeah, you always see this picture of El Chapo, and he looks so goofy and unassuming. Yeah? Like, look at that face. That doesn't look like the face of the guy who's had multiple people's heads cut off, car bombs. Dude was infamous cartel leader. You know, that kind of look on his face. He doesn't look, you know, half balding and shit. Doesn't look like the kind of guy. But, you know, guess looks surprise you. Don't judge books by their cover. Pablo Escobar, of course he's on here. See, he looks like a seedy fuck. Right. I look at that face and I'm like, oh yeah, that dude would have your head cut off. I look at that face. This guy, brother here, looks pissed. He looks angry. He's like, fuck your head, white man. We're chopping it off. Like this guy, he totally looks like he's chopped a few heads in his time. Oh, well, I didn't even know he was going to actually be on this list, but that makes sense. That makes sense. He would be up there. 15 million. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's also quite an angry face, right? I mean, if it wasn't for the goofy ass little nose stash, that'd be a pretty scary face, right? But he's got the little good boy part in his hair, right? Hair all perfectly parted, and then the goofy little nose stash. You know, it dumbs down the seriousness of this very angry face. It's all about branding, people. You know, if you're going to be a bad guy, you really need to brand yourself correctly. That right there, incorrect branding. And there it is. Oh, excuse me. I thought that was numero uno right there. Osama bin Laden at 25 million. I guess not. Let's see how long it goes. I mean, it looks like we got more space right here. Or one more out. Someone else. Nope, that's it. Khalid Muhammad. I don't think that guy's alive anymore. Khalid Muhammad, I think that he got bombed, didn't he? I think President Trump bombed this feller right here. I think he's long gone. 27 million though. So that's Mr. Numero Uno. So top 10. 1, 2, 3. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, I think that would be 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. And Matteo rounds out 10. So Matteo Denaro, mafia guy, at number 10. Then we got Joseph Kony. Here, let's pop out of here. Hop back over here. Joseph Kony. What did he do? That guy's hard to place. He doesn't look like an Italian mafia member, yeah? Something tells me. Ugandan militant and warlord who founded the Lord's Resistance Army, designated as a terrorist group by the United Nations peacekeepers, the European Union, and various other governments, including the United Kingdom and the United States. Okay, so, and he was an altar boy when he was a kid, wouldn't you know? Of course he was. Matteo Denaro, I'm pretty positive he's Italian mafia. I don't know what family, though. Matteo Denaro, let's take a look. Yeah, see, unassuming looking dude in his younger age, right? He kind of had that nerdy look that you like, Cutie Pie. Diabolic was his name. Also known as Diabolic. Wow. Was an Italian mafia boss from Castelvetrano. He is considered to be one of the new leaders of the La Costa Nostra after the arrest of Bernardo Provenzano and Salvatore Lo Piccolo. The son of mafia boss Denaro became known nationally when the magazine El Espresso put him on the cover with the headline, "Here is the new mafia boss." Wow, they just straight up threw it out there. It's like, yep, this is the guy. So he was in Italy. He was the La Costa Nostra boss. Okay. So yeah, probably pretty powerful. This guy, warlord, El Chapo, everybody knows him. Cartel leader, Pablo Escobar, big drug runner. Mullah Omar. What did this angry fella do? Mullah Omar. Okay, so he just has like 15 different names. Was an Afghan militant leader and founder and the first leader of the Taliban from 1994 until his death. Okay, so that's no bueno neither. Yeah, bad feller. Bad guy. Okay, let's keep going. Then there's Adolf, good old Adolf, obviously. He was going to be on there. We should have known that. I am kind of surprised he's on there. I didn't know that they offered bounties for, entire world leaders, But that makes sense why he would be on there. Rafael Quintero. What did this guy do? Rafael Quintero. Okay, so this guy is a Mexican former drug lord who co-founded the now disintegrated Guadalajara cartel. Okay. Founder and leader of the Guadalajara cartel. Well, probably not the dude you want to fuck with. And then Shak Dawood Hassan. I'm going to need to take my time spelling that name. Aikh. And then what was his last name? Hassan. That's easy to remember. Hassan. Okay. We're going to need the middle name. Dawood. There he is. Is an Indian mob boss, drug lord, and terrorist. He reportedly heads the Indian organized crime syndicate D Company. Wow, I've never heard of that. which he founded in Mumbai in the 1970s. Ibram is wanted on charges including murder, extortion, targeted killing, drug trafficking, and terrorism. Ooh, not a good guy. Not a good guy at all. He's still wanted? Did I read that right? No, he's not on the FBI's most wanted list anymore. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, when did they say he was around? 1980s, 1970s. Okay, yeah, so he's probably long gone. Criminal career. Oh, wow. So the Indian government sold off his properties in 2020. And so he might be in Pakistan, maybe? Maybe. Okay. Well, I don't think they know where he is. I don't know why they took him off the list, though. He might have been one of those guys where they just said, fuck it. We're never going to find him. Oh. Oh, no. That was a different guy. Okay. Well, so there's this dude, bad dude, and he's number 3 on the list. So really bad dude. And then, of course, Osama. And then Khaled Mohammed. Pretty sure they got this guy. Nope. Definitely not that guy. Could have been his brother, though. Sheiih. There's the fella. Okay. At least 50 synonyms. Wow. Pseudonyms. Where did you learn a word like pseudonym? Often known by his initials KSM, is a Pakistani terrorist, mechanical engineer, and the former head of the propaganda for the pan-Islamist militant group Al-Qaeda. Okay. So, pretty bad dude. Okay, so he is in Guantanamo Bay. Okay, that's a bummer for him. All right. Okay, so there's the top 10 names on the FBI's most wanted list as far as value, dollar amounts go. And that guy ended up at 27 million. So if you would have had info on him, you could have made up to 27 million. I hear tell, I don't know if it's true, but I hear tell that getting involved with the FBI's most wanted list, like the way you have to go about it, call the number, wait for somebody to show up, give them the information or what have you. From what I've been told is it's difficult to get paid, right? Like once you give information, it's very difficult to get the payout for it. Like you have to have lawyers involved. Again, just been told. I don't know for certain. Okay, I haven't caught in too many bad guys in my day, but supposedly the best way to go about it is if you find somebody on the list nowadays. I've been told that the best way to go about it is to actually call a lawyer and have your lawyer notify the FBI and say, hey, I have a client that has information. He wants to negotiate information for money or the prize or whatever, the bounty. So I don't know if that's true. But that's just what I've been told, that the process is kind of difficult for getting paid if you don't go about it in the correct manner. So, it is what it is. Thought that was kind of interesting. But let's see. Okay. Just making sure my YouTube is still streaming, because this is the first time I've streamed on it, so I'm expecting it to crap out at any moment for some reason. I don't even know where it's going on my channel. First time just trying it out. So I did want to bring up one of the fellas that we saw on that list, right? Mr. Whitey Bulger. I had to tell this story because I had to. Look, I got a story about Whitey Bulger, so I had to tell it. Okay, so you saw Whitey Bulger. He was on that list, the top 50, highest paid, most wanted people on the list as far as numbers go. So Whitey Bulger was a Irish mob boss. Funny enough, he was actually also played by, what's his name? Johnny Depp played Whitey Bulger. Very clearly know resemblance there. Yeah, he did a good job though. He was fucking freaky in the movie Black Mass. Okay, he played Whitey Bulger in the movie Black Mass, and Whitey Bulger was an Irish mob boss in Boston, I think it was. James Whitey Bulger, boss of the largely Irish mob in Boston, okay, through the 1970s and 1990s, notorious for his readiness to use violence and especially murder to achieve his criminal goals. So yeah, we don't need to go through this whole thing right here, yeah. But anyways, yeah, dude was a pretty bad guy, pretty scary dude apparently, killed a lot of people, was an FBI informant for a long time, and that's kind of how he cleared up a lot of his competition in Boston. He tattled on them to the FBI and got them shut down. A couple guys in the FBI were accused of working with Whitey Bulger to help his criminal enterprise, and I believe they got arrested and they went to prison. But Whitey Bulger escaped getting arrested and was on the FBI's most wanted list for a very long time. And so wanted to put this out there, just kind of a funny story. My name in high school was Whitey. That was my nickname, right? Because my last name is White. So, of course, I think it was a fucking football coach in middle school who used to call me Whitey Tidies, and then that name stuck. So, of course it would. Fucking asshole. So, anyways, that was my nickname. It got shortened down to Whitey's, thank God, when I was in high school and people called me Whitey. Okay, anyways, Whitey here, no relation. When I was like 15, I went to a juvenile detention facility, right? And while in Casper, Wyoming. And so while I was sitting in the juvenile detention facility, don't even start with me, cutie pie. Don't even start. All right, you go with that nickname. I'm going to contact Bundy and I'm going to get some nicknames for you. All right, and we can go tit for tat on this one. We all have embarrassing nicknames, okay? So you just remember that before you call me Whitey Tidies, all right? Anyways, so Whitey Tidies over here was sitting in a juvenile detention facility when I was 15 yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's a sad nickname. That's horrible. Whitey Tidies, it's kind of funny. I can laugh about it now, but that one's hurtful. That is a hurtful nickname. I'll give you that. Yeah. So I don't know. Mine was pretty bad. All right. I don't know if you beat me by much because, I don't think everybody in your high school called you that, right? That was just your brother, right? And brothers are supposed to make mean nicknames. That's what brothers do. Okay. Big difference between people in your high school calling you that and your brother calling you that. So I got to put that out there. But anyways, yeah, just your brother. Yeah. So I was sitting in a juvenile detention facility in Casper, Wyoming, and they put out the paper and we would get the paper if we requested it. And one day the guard comes through and tells all the kids in the cell, like, hey, there was a gangster that was arrested across the street. And, we're all in juvie. We're a bunch of little gangsters, right? We're like, oh, they had a gangster across the street. And we're like, give us the paper, give us the paper. So the guard goes and grabs us the newspaper and we get to read it. And it was Whitey Bulger and he wasn't arrested. Okay, this was in Casper, Wyoming. This was in 2006, I think it was. 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area, 15 years old. We get the newspaper in my juvie cell. And yeah, right across the street, there was a Village Inn. I could barely just see it out of my window. And at that Village Inn, somebody in town had snapped pictures of Whitey Bulger enjoying breakfast there and then turned it into the FBI. The FBI didn't catch him. He ran, didn't get caught, and they printed it in the paper. Whitey Bulger seen in Casper, Wyoming, right? It was in like the Casper Tribune or whatever the fuck it's called, right? So everybody was really blown away, right? Like, oh, wow, there's a fucking big, scary gangster across the street, right? Because we all thought we were big, scary gangsters. We're 15-year-old kids who'd all already been arrested for felonies and shit, so we all think we're tough guys. Anyways, jump forward into the future, right? Okay, because this story continues. Me and Whitey, aside from having the same unfortunate nickname and also being, major criminals, right? We had another connection in this story. So jump forward to 2010, 2011. I work in Los Angeles at a recording studio called 3rd Street Recording. Okay, and it's on 3rd Street in Santa Monica, right next to the 3rd Street Santa Monica promenade. and I parked my car in the I guess it's 4th Street Recording was the name of the recording studio. Man, it has been a lot of years and a lot of weed since I worked there. 2010, and I work at 4th Street Recording next to the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, California. I parked my truck in the 3rd Street Promenade because I walk to and from my house that I think was in Venice at the time. And from my house to the studio, Santa Monica, Venice, right next to each other, more or less. And you don't want to go driving your car around getting fucking parking tickets and shit. So I left my truck parked in this parking garage. And then when I needed to take it out, I'd go into the parking garage and I'd run this little scam where if I gave them the ticket that said I had parked there for 2 months, they would be like, okay, you owe us $2,000 or whatever. It would have been a lot of money. So instead, I'd just walk up, I'd press the button, and I'd say, hey, I need to let out the parking lot, and I don't have my ticket. And they would say, oh, you don't have your ticket? And I'd say, no, I don't. And they'd say, well, we're going to have to charge you $10. And I would say, you fuckers, like, you can't do that. I was only here for 10 minutes. And they'd say, we're sorry, sir, but we have to charge you the full $10. And I'd say, you guys are scamming me. And then I'd give them the $10. And then I'd walk away, even though I really owed him like $3,000, right? So anyways, yeah, I had my truck parked in that parking garage. And one day I go to work at the recording studio, and my engineer, the head engineer in the studio, what was his? Seho was his name. I walk in and Seho's like, bro, did you hear about the cops last night? And I was like, no, what? And he's like, dude, just across the street on 3rd Street, in a parking garage, they arrested Whitey Bulger. And I said, what? No way. Like Whitey Bulger, the Irish mob boss. And he's like, yeah, man, in that, that parking garage right on the corner. And I was like, no fucking way. Like the parking garage I parked my truck in. And he's like, yeah, man, that one, dude. Whitey Bulger was just walking to his car there, and the cops got him and arrested his ass. And I was like, damn, that is crazy, dude. Like that guy almost got arrested right across the street from where I was sitting in a juvenile detention facility. And then later on got arrested right where I parked my truck, right? So I was bad luck for Mr. Whitey Bulger, I guess. I must have had the bad juju that got his ass arrested. But I thought that was pretty funny. And here was him getting arrested. Whitey Bulger captured. 10 most wanted list. When was this? June 22nd, Santa Monica, California, right? And let's see, yada, 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 go through that. They kind of go over his life story. Okay, so they don't really tell too much after that. Up to $2 million. Wow. So, yeah, he was pretty high up there. Not as high, he wasn't in the top 10, but pretty crazy. Funny story anyways. Yeah, I always get a kick out of that. And me and this guy had the same unfortunate nickname, so had to throw that out there. Okay, so now we're moving on. What are we moving on to? So this is... And there's a lot of lists. If you look up online the 10 worst criminals on the FBI's most wanted list, you're going to get a whole lot of different articles on it. Everybody's got different opinions on it. It's kind of subjective. You would imagine what would be on the list, right? Serial killers, real nasty folks. Yeah, because you got to be a pretty nasty dude to get on that list anyways. But, we're picking the worst of the worst here. So I got an article and a video that we're going to go over. This is the infographic show. I fucking love this show too. So if you ever want a fun channel to watch, check out the infographic show. But we're going to go ahead and hop over to this article first to hear what the 10 biggest baddies were on the list. The 10 meanest, nastiest guys, right? So that's what we're shooting for. So number 1 is Thomas James. Oh, I recognize that face anywhere. That doofus goldfish look. That was the first guy on the list, right? First man to make the most wanted list. What did he killed his wife and her 2 brothers. Well, he is an asshole. That's pretty bad. I don't know if that deserves to be called the worst. That no chin having ass. Yeah, look at that. Goofy ass little chin, skinny ass head, Eraserhead. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He looks exactly like Eraserhead. Not exactly. Eraserhead had a big fluff of hair up there. But yeah, goofy looking dude. So we're going to skip him because we already know about Mr. Goofy up there, Mr. Eraserhead. Ruth Eisman Shire, was the list's first woman, added in 1968. Shire and her boyfriend were charged with a particularly cruel kidnapping. Ooh. They abducted a 20-year-old woman, buried her underground in a box, then demanded a $500,000 ransom. The young woman was dug up after 83 hours. Oh my God, that's horrible. The kidnappers were arrested when police found their abandoned car with a photograph in the glove box of the victim holding up a sign reading kidnapped. 10 women in total have joined the men of the most wanted. Wow. I wonder if she survived. 83 hours in a coffin? Man, that's spooky. You know, she looks like a young Ellen DeGeneres. Look at that. You think Ellen would do something like that? You know, nowadays, I'd say most people would probably say yes. You piss off Ellen, she'll bury you underground, bitch. Leslie Rogue became a fugitive when he escaped Leavenworth Penitentiary by bribing a guard. See, this guy didn't even use a car. He didn't think of no fancy little soap gun. He just bribed a guard. He just walked up to a guard and was like, bro, get me out of here. That was it. That's all he had to do. At liberty again, he graduated from auto theft to bank robbery, but he turned himself into the U.S. Embassy in Guatemala on May 19th, 1996. Guatemalan authorities had to be searching for him after he was identified by a person who recognized him on the FBI list. Rogue was the first most wanted fugitive captured with the help of the internet. Oh, I guess that means he's a distinguished gentleman here. James Earl Ray, I've heard this name before. Number 4, was the first man to join the most wanted list twice. Oh, well, look at him. So he's got his accolades. He's got his flowers waiting for him in bad guy hell. He was first wanted for killing Martin Luther King Jr. That's where I heard his name. Okay, this was that guy. Yeah, that probably deserves a spot on the list twice over. He was captured 2 months later when a customs official at Heathrow Airport recognized his alias from a Canadian wanted list. In 1977, he escaped from a Tennessee penitentiary. 3 days later, he was recaptured, and a year was added to his sentence, bringing it up to 100 years. Bummer for that guy. Definitely deserved it. And then Victor Garena. We already went over Mr. Gorilla here. Billy Austin Bryant. What is going on? This Saturday Evening Post. They're just stealing all my greatest hits. This guy is definitely not the worst. You know, is this the worst or the most notable? The 10 most notorious. I highly disagree with the title of this article. This dude literally got himself trapped in a fucking attic. Yeah, they even say it right there. Trapped himself in an attic. Silly, silly guy. Eugene Palmer. Okay, ooh, look at that guy. See, that's the face of a dude who would serial murder your ass, for sure. He's got this Amish kind of beard going on here. Amish beard having ass. Eugene Palmer. Okay, is the oldest man to make the list. Suspected of killing his daughter-in-law, he has been a fugitive for 7 years. Eugene will turn 81 in April. Oh, that's all they give us of him. I don't know why I recognize that name, Eugene Palmer. I might have seen a movie about him or something, but I definitely recognize that name. William Bradford Bishop. He was also on that list of the highest rewards in that video. He was on there somewhere. William Bradford Bishop. I don't remember him being on there. He's a goofy looking fella. Ooh, he kind of looks like Quentin Tarantino right there. They won't let us blow up the pictures, damn. Okay, brutally beat his wife, mother, and children to death. Okay, so this guy deserves to be on the list. He's definitely earned himself a spot on the most notorious. What a dick. Disappeared in 1976. In the next few years, witnesses claimed to have seen him in several locations overseas. Yet for some reason, he wasn't added to the list until 2014, when the Bureau had produced an aged, advanced image of him to aid in his capture. It failed to turn up any leads, and 2 years later, he was dropped from the list. He would now be 84 years old, so he's still wanted. Fuck, choking on air over here. Get a nice swig of coffee. So yeah, this dude is still wanted. Probably hasn't beaten anybody's ass anytime soon. 84 years old. As far as when this was written, when was this written? March 31st, 2020. So throw 5 years on that. He's 91, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I'm bad at math. 99. 89. Fuck me. I'm horrible at math. Horrible. Gosh. We're cutting that out of the video on YouTube. 89 years old. So he's not beating anyone's ass anytime soon. Ted Bundy Yep, he would go on the list. Serial murderer is on our list just for the sheer nastiness. Yeah, he probably should be. This two-time member committed his first known assault and murder in 1974. 12 more killings followed until one of his victims escaped. Before he could be arrested in 1975, he committed 5 more murders. During his 1977 trial, he escaped from the courthouse and was most wanted for 6 days before recapture. He was back on the list later that year when he escaped again. He committed 3 more assaults and 2 murders before being stopped for driving a stolen car. Theodore Bundy, and then Osama. Yep, was on the list well before the masterminding of the 1911 tragedy. He became the most wanted in 1993 for bombing in Mogadishu that killed 18 Americans and the first attack on the World Trade Center, which killed 6 people. Oh, wow. I didn't even know there was a first attack. That's crazy. He was also responsible for other attacks on U.S. military bases and embassies in the Middle East, resulting in the deaths of about 250 Americans total. Yeesh. So, real bad guy. Real bad guy. With his attacks on 2001, he is easily the most murderous fugitive to ever make the list. They're also going to add the name of Scott Garriola. Now retired, Garriola was an FBI agent in L.A. who played a crucial role in recapturing 6 most wanted fugitives. Oh, wow. Yeah, crazy. Okay. Well, there you have it. There's, according to Saturday Evening Post, the 10 most notorious. I think that's highly objectionable, considering they have Mr. Goofy, the no-chin having ass, and Billy Bryant on here. This fucking guy, the guy that gets himself locked in a fucking attic. I don't know if they make the list for the most notorious. But we're going to see what the Infographs show has to say, because these guys, they got a good show they put together. I really enjoy this YouTube channel. So if you like this video, give them a like and subscribe. Check them out. We're going to hop over to the YouTube screen. And we might rush through this a little bit. We might not go through the whole thing in 8 minutes. We got time to do it. How much other shit did I have to hit? We have the current list. That's right. Okay, current list. And then they have extra lists. And then this was just extra shit. So yeah, we got plenty of time. Okay. Go ahead, hop over Meow. Okay, let's check it out, see what the Infograph show has to say.
The U.S. Marshals, responsible for hunting down fugitives accused of breaking federal laws. They operate in all 50 states and U.S. territories and have even been sent to capture runaways in other countries. If you've committed a federal crime and think you can get away, odds are sooner rather than later, you'll find yourself with a team of marshals hot on your trail. With some of the most high-profile fugitives, the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list is a who's who of violent offenders, corrupt business and political leaders, and even terrorists. Now check out what definitely are the scariest criminals on the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list. Number 8. John Penoligan. In 2009, John Penoligan ran a home healthcare business that wasn't quite on the up and up. After multiple complaints, several individuals got together to sue Penoligan. Attorney Victor Jiga Patel took up the case, and a lengthy court battle ensued. At some point in time, Penoligan became aware that Patel had damning information on his business dealings, and so Penoligan took steps to ensure that Patel would never be able to bring that information to court. On December 7, 2016, Penoligan scheduled an appointment with Patel using an alias and then wore a disguise to Patel's law office. Once in his office, Penoligan revealed his identity and strangled Patel to death. 2 days later, Penoligan was arrested on the Canadian border for attempting to smuggle a firearm into Canada. Since, for the Canadians, finding a firearm in an American's belongings is like finding a French fry you accidentally dropped beneath your driver's seat, in that it happens literally all the time, Penoligan was released back to the U.S. He was questioned by local police about Patel's death, but with not enough evidence to charge him, he was later released. Later, multiple search warrants would find enough evidence to link Penoligan to the murder. However, Penoligan was believed to have already fled to Mexico by then. It's now believed that Penoligan may be in the Philippines, where he was stashing money for a long time. However, if you have any information leading to his arrest, the Marshals have a sweet $25,000 reward waiting for you. Number 7. RoboCop. No, we're not kidding. The U.S. Marshals are in fact looking for RoboCop. Known as Raymond Abbott Berga, or RoboCop to his criminal affiliates, Abbott Berga landed on the Marshals' most wanted list after escaping from a maximum security facility in Puerto Rico. He'd been arrested and charged with multiple federal firearms violations for his role in smuggling automatic weapons from the mainland U.S. into Puerto Rico, which were then disseminated to local street gangs and drug cartels, including groups affiliated to Colombian cartels. Given his extremely violent nature and extensive knowledge of firearms, the Marshals warned that Abbott Berga should be considered extremely dangerous. They also believe that Abbott Berga is still likely heavily involved in weapon smuggling. Number 6.
I love how he's hiding behind a dumpster. See, these guys, they put together a really good show. I get a kick out of it.
Jose Bustos Diaz. In 2005, police found the body of a woman who'd been beaten and stabbed to death, prompting a manslaughter investigation. It did not take the authorities long to link the killing to Jose Bustos Diaz, who was quickly arrested and faced trial. Sentenced to 35 years in prison, Bustos Diaz was moved to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Dolph Briscoe unit, where Bustos Diaz and another inmate took the opportunity to escape via a hole in the fence. The U.S. Marshals Lone Star...
See, a hole in the fence. That's it. They just found a fucking hole in the fence, and we're like, let's go through this. Work was already done for us. I'm telling you, it's crazy how little some of these criminals have to do to actually escape prison, right? Then you hear about, like, the most recent prison escape, where these dudes, like, chipped a hole in the wall, ripped the toilet off the wall, all kinds of crazy shit.
Fugitive Task
Should have just looked for a hole in the fence.
Force assisted local authorities with the hunt, leading law enforcement to a home in Reynosa, Mexico. There, with the help of Mexican police, Bustos Diaz's escape accomplice was rearrested and returned to the U.S. Bustos Diaz himself, though, eluded capture and remains on the run. Law enforcement believes he may still be in Mexico or may have smuggled himself back into the U.S. If you have any information leading to his arrest, you may nab the $25,000 reward on his head. Number 5. Anthony Seth Burroughs. A most wanted criminal on the lam for 21 years, Anthony Seth Burroughs is wanted for the cold-blooded murder of a 19-year-old at a house party in 2000. Growing up amid the gang life in Tucson, Arizona, Ruben Rodriguez had at last turned his life around after a short stint in juvenile detention. He had left his gang affiliations behind and gotten a job at a jewelry store with plans to return to school soon. On April 29, 2000, Rodriguez attended a house party, also attended by Burroughs, who was described by those who knew him as a wannabe pretending to be Hispanic despite his Filipino descent. The two got into a fistfight over a girl, with Rodriguez knocking Burroughs to the floor. Perhaps attempting to reconcile things, Rodriguez helped Burroughs up off the ground and then began to walk away when Burroughs shot him in the back. Rodriguez was struck in the carotid artery and quickly bled out, prompting Burroughs to flee to the desert. Before police could arrest Burroughs, he boarded a plane to the Philippines, where he remained until at least 2014, when authorities received a tip that his mother was sending him money from the U.S. After searching her home, they found evidence of Burroughs living in Manila in the form of letters he had written to her whining about how hard his life was. But his mother tipped him off that the authorities were on their way, and he once more went underground. Today, the U.S. Marshals continue to work with Filipino authorities to bring Burroughs to justice. Number 4. Larry Chisholm. Arrested on armed robbery and narcotics charges, Larry Chisholm was apprehended and sentenced to 40 years in prison back in the 70s. In 1978, Chisholm, who had earned privileges for good behavior, was allowed to attend a bowling event with several other inmates. Yeah, apparently prison worked differently back then. Once at the bowling alley, Chisholm excused himself to the bathroom, though a guard became suspicious and injured after a few minutes. Authorities believe that an accomplice had stashed a shotgun there for Chisholm as he turned the weapon on the guard and severely injured him. He would escape along with several other inmates and a guard as hostage. The group hijacked a plane to Arkansas in 3 days.
See, that's an escaping prison story right there. Fuck.
After arriving, he was arrested after kidnapping a civilian and getting into a shootout with the police. Chisholm would escape again shortly after, and authorities got a tip that he was living in Mobile, Alabama, though he managed to escape before he could be apprehended. In 1990, the authorities discovered him living in North Carolina under an alias, but once more he managed to evade capture. The last confirmed sighting of Larry Chisholm was in December of 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia. Given his tendency to escape police custody with extreme violence, Larry Chisholm is still considered extremely dangerous. Number 3. John Rufo. On the lam since 1998, John Rufo was charged with one of the greatest bank frauds in history. Scamming over $350 million from banks, John Rufo was sentenced to...
Wow, damn. $350 million. I don't know how you even get away with that. Like, how do you get away with scamming that much money out of a bank, right? damn, you can't get away for stealing $5 from a fucking ATM. This guy gets 350 million. I imagine nobody's going to tell you how he did that, though. Can't find that information anywhere.
17 years in prison. Released on a $10 million bond, John Rufo was ordered to report to federal prison in New Jersey on November 9, 1998. But unsurprisingly, he never showed. An arrest warrant was immediately issued. John Rufo's last known movements led police to an ATM on the way to the JFK airport, where he arrived shortly after. Mr. Rufo then boarded a plane and, despite hundreds of tips, hasn't been caught yet. Of the $350 million that he stole, all but about $13 million have been recovered, leaving Rufo with plenty of places to retire and enjoy his ill-gotten gains.
Wow. Dude got away with it. 13 million. Hey, that's still good. Not 350 million good, but that's still pretty fucking good. I don't know if I would rob a bank for 13 million, but, you know, I haven't been given the opportunity yet, so it's still to be seen.
Gains. Number 2, Robert Lee King. On December 1st, 2005, 20-year-old Diana Smith woke up to an argument between her mother and her boyfriend, Robert Lee King. Making her way to their bedroom, Diana discovered King standing over her mother and savagely beating her. Fleeing to her bedroom, she attempted to lock herself in her room while calling the police, but King broke through the door and attacked Diana with a sharp object, cutting her in the neck. King fled the home, and Diana rushed to her mother's side, finding her thoroughly beaten and bleeding profusely from a serious cut to her neck. By the time the paramedics arrived, her mother was already dead. Diana herself was transported to the hospital in critical condition but survived the ordeal. King is believed to still be in the country under an alias, and police recently released an age progression photograph in hopes of the public identifying and bringing this savage murderer to justice. Number 1. Jerry Worthen. This has been by far one of our most depressing episodes, given that all these fugitives are still on the run, so we decided to end on a high note, seeing as the scumbag in our number 1 spot has just recently been caught. In Camden, Arkansas, in June 2019, Jerry Worthen brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alyssa Cannon, along with her 4-year-old son. The bodies would take 2 days to be discovered after curious family came by to find out why Cannon wasn't responding to texts or phone calls. By that time, Worthen had fled using Cannon's car, which was later found abandoned in Seattle. A manhunt involving multiple federal task forces set to the task of discovering Worthen's whereabouts, tracking him to a chain of hotels across Southern California. On October 5, 2000, U.S. Marshals raided a hotel in Burbank, California, which, side note, is only 2 blocks away from where this script's writer lives, and at last flushed Worthen out of hiding. A foot chase through a local neighborhood and literally right past this writer's house ended up with Worthen's capture. He was quickly extradited to Arkansas, where he awaits 2 counts of capital murder and will assuredly never see a single day as a free man again. Now it's time to help bring more criminals to justice with FBI's most violent, most wanted of all.
All right. So there you go. That's the Infograph Show. Big fan of that channel. Definitely check them out. Give them a like and subscribe. They got a lot of subscribers, 15 million. They deserve it, though. They do really good work. So, yeah, there's some pretty bad guys on that list. Also note that was the U.S. Marshals list. I didn't realize till the video started playing, but I was like, fuck it. It's good fun. That's all we really needed. Something entertaining. Here, let's pop back over here. All right. Hi again. So, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through who is the current members of the FBI's 10 most wanted list. We're going to go through them, and I don't think they have any particular order, and see what they did and pull up their picture and see how much they're being offered for, if we can find that information. If not, then it's whatever. So the let's see. Yeah, right here it says all the fugitives on this list, the reward is a minimum of $250,000. Oop. That went the wrong way. That fucked me up good. Okay, here we go. 250,000 for all fugitives. Okay, well, so $250,000 isn't bad, right? So anyways, yeah, let's go through, see what the current top 10 most FBI's most wanted list people did. And first guy, I can't pronounce that. Bradesh Kumar Chetanba Patel. We're going to say Patel. An Indian national allegedly stabbed and killed his wife in a donut shop in Hanover, Maryland on April 12, 2015. He was last seen taking a shuttle to Newark Penn Station. According to authorities, he has connections to Canada, Georgia, Illinois, India, Kentucky, and New Jersey. Geez, stabbed his wife over donuts, no less, at a Dunkin' Donuts store. Those Dunkin' Donuts drive people crazy. And let's see, how much are they? A reward of up to $250,000 for his known whereabouts. Okay. So, last seen on the morning of April 13th, 2015 at around 10 a.m. at Newark Penn Station. Oh, so it's been about 10 years since anybody's seen this bad boy. Beaten to death and stabbed multiple times with a large kitchen knife. Oh, geesh. That's pretty crazy. Okay, well, oh, look at that. It's quite a Mr. Unibrow have an ass over here. Okay, so keep an eye out for that guy, because he's not a good person. And then we have Alejandro Costello, number 516. Costello is wanted in connection with the August 2016 murder of a 23-year-old woman, Truckwan Sandy Lilay, whom he had previously dated. The two became acquainted while working together in a restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. So let's read about this fella. Let's see, American fugitive, yada, 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 offering up to $250,000 for his capture. Oh, he's a young guy with a lot of hair on top of that head. Disappearance and murder. On August 9th, 2016, Costello texted Lee saying that he would like to repay her the money she had previously loaned to him. Lee agreed to meet Costello at a Quick Trip located at Eastway Drive in Charlotte. Costello was picked up that afternoon by Feaster, who collected him in her red Dodge Caliber and took him to the meeting. Lee was last seen alive at the Quick Trip, where she agreed to meet Costello. It is believed that instead of repaying her, Costello forced Lee to withdraw all the money from her bank account, possibly with a gun. According to Lee's uncle, her bank statement showed that she withdrew $1,000 from an ATM. After this withdrawal, there was no money left in her bank account. Investigators believe that Costello then drove Lee to a wooded area in Cabarrus County, where he shot her once in the head, killing her. Her body was then dumped in a ravine. Jeesh, bad dude. Huge bummer. Okay, and let's see, where was he last seen? In Agua, some point during the months they're staying down next. Okay, she was eventually transferred to McLean County, extradited to Houston, Texas. This is one of the 32 states which comprise the federal entities of Mexico. So, still hiding in Mexico, possibly in the cities of San Francisco de los Romo, or one of those two states. He may also be hiding in the states of Guanajuato or Veracruz. Okay, so there's a lot of places that guy could be. Yulon Adonai Archada Carias, number 526. Archaga is charged federally in the Southern District of New York with racketeering conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and possession and conspiracy to possess machine guns as the alleged leader of MS-13 for all of Honduras. Oh, wow. Geesh, that's some bona fide shit. Archaga allegedly controlled MS-13 criminal activity in Honduras and provided support and resources to the MS-13 enterprise in Central America and the United States with firearms, narcotics, and cash. Archaga is also allegedly responsible for supporting multi-ton loans. Oh, that's where Adriana's from, huh? Yeah, that's right. I remember her saying that. And she lived in New York, too, for a while, didn't she? Also allegedly responsible. Yeah. Geesh. Allegedly responsible for supporting multi-ton loads of cocaine through Honduras to the U.S. and for ordering and participating in murders of rival gang members and others associated with MS-13. The reward for information leading up to his capture was increased to $5 million. We'll tell Adriana to keep an eye out. She's got an easy $5 million here. Just walk up and karate chop this fucking guy. He doesn't look easily karate choppable, though. I'm going to say that. Kind of has that look in his face like he might set you on fire. Where do they say? So he's up to $5 million. This guy right here, right? And where did they say he might be at? Probably in Mexico, I would assume. Yeah. So, last seen, upon arriving to a courthouse in the city of El Progreso, northern Honduras, an MS-13 squad barged in and helped him escape in a hail of bullets. Oh, wow. So, maybe tell Adriana if she sees this guy to just leave him alone, because he's got gang members with him. So, Ruja Ignatova. Oh, we got a woman here. Russian? Yeah, Russian woman here. What do you think she did? Ignatova. Okay. Ignatova is wanted for her alleged leadership of a massive fraud scheme called OneCoin. So she's a crypto scammer. She was last seen in October 2017 in Athens, Greece, and has ties to her birthplace in Bulgaria and Germany. The reward for information leading to her capture has increased to $5 million as of 2024. Crypto scammer up here with murderers and gang members. Wow, I wonder how much she scammed. Fraudulent cryptocurrency scheme known as OneCoin. You know, I'm surprised we aren't going to see more of these. I wonder if I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the only crypto scammer on the list, right? Con artist, yada yada, founder of the fraudulent cryptocurrency OneCoin, which the Times described as one of the biggest scams in history. Education, criminal activities. Oh, so she committed fraud in Germany once before. Multi-level marketing scam called Bitcoin, so she already did that one. Then she did a pyramid scheme called OneCoin, inspired by the success of Bitcoin. Okay, the scam grew rapidly, not a real cryptocurrency. Wealthy investors lost millions of dollars, and investors in rural Uganda lost their homes. Oh, wow. The vast majority of investments came from China, although investments have also been made from countries like Brazil, Pakistan, Hong Kong, Norway, Canada, Yemen, and Palestine. Okay, geesh. So let's see. She was never... Okay, her brother pleaded guilty. According to Bulgaria's Bureau of Investigation, which is an independent journalistic organization, allegedly a Bulgarian organized crime kingpin, her brother, who was nicknamed Kuro, allegedly was part of the VIS-2 strike brigade. I don't know anything about that. And died with his wife, another Bulgarian man and woman. Okay, well, don't know about that too. This is, yeah. Okay, where did she disappear to? List, okay, yada yada. They don't know. When was the last time she was seen? Okay. Police informed, yada yada. So they don't really know. But this girl could be in a lot of different places. Because they just went through the list of places she's been. She's been around. So there you go, Mrs. Ruha Ignatova. Crypto scammer. And then we got Omar, good old Omar here. Omar Cardenas. Cardenas is wanted for his alleged involvement in the murder of a man outside a barbershop in LA, California. It's kind of random who makes the list. Yeah, this guy shot somebody outside a barbershop, didn't like his haircut, shot the dude. It's not that bad of a haircut. And then, got Miss Crypto Scammer Lady on here too. He's $250,000 for this guy. Number 528. I think they only said there was 530 some, right? Fled to Mexico or maybe in Southern California. Okay. Used to work as a construction worker. On August 15th, Cardenas is suspected of shooting and killing Jabali Dumas, a 46-year-old man. Oh, that's a bummer. Outside of the Hair Icon Barbershop in Sylmar neighborhood of L.A. Chief Michael Moore stated that Cardenas fired 9 shots at Dumas from approximately 30 feet away, striking him in the head. The victim died at the scene, and Cardenas was seen fleeing in his vehicle. It is unclear if the suspect and victim knew each other prior to the shooting. So, I don't know. Sounds like just a bad hair day to me, right? We get those from time to time. Most of us don't shoot people, but, dangerous being a barber nowadays, I tell you, man. Okay, Wilver Palomino, number 530. Wilver Palomino is a member of the National Liberation Army, ELN, a transnational criminal organization and foreign terrorist organization. He is charged with narco-terrorism, international cocaine distribution conspiracy, and international cocaine distribution. The United States Department of State Narcotics Rewards Program is offering up to $5 million for information leading to his arrest. Okay, so big numbers for this guy, Mr. Wilver. Unfortunate about the name, Wilver, is a Colombian fugitive. And where was he last seen? Yep, traffic cocaine. We got that. Yep. The United States is offering $5 million. Doesn't say where he's been seen. Probably not anywhere in the U.S., right? Nationality Colombian. Doesn't seem like he's anywhere. He just gets cocaine into the U.S., but he's out there. Oh, wait. Distribution of cocaine by Southern District of Texas. Okay. I don't think he was even in the United States. He's in Colombia. So unless you want to take a trip down there, I'd probably not go looking for that guy. Patel Innocent. That's nice. That's great. This dude's last name is Innocent, and he's on the FBI's most wanted list. That you can't make that shit up. It's still not as funny as Bryant locking himself in the attic, but that's pretty funny. Okay. Patel Innocent is a Haitian national and leader of the Craze Berry Gang. Is wanted for his role in kidnappings of U.S. Christian missionaries and the murder of a U.S. citizen who was killed in another botched kidnapping for ransom. The crimes occurred in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So he's a Haitian. I don't think he was anywhere near America, but was kidnapping Christian missionaries. Oh, no. He looks kind of like a crazy motherfucker. Originally a political activist, he still maintains ties to grassroots political movements in Haiti. In a 2024 interview with CNN, he described himself as a former small business owner and stated that his dream is to get rid of the oligarchs who prevent Haiti from progressing. So he was even interviewed by CNN. Innocent is the leader of the Craze Berry Gang, which as of May 24th participated in the Vive Ensemble Alliance of Haitian Gangs. The alliance also includes the revolutionary forces of the G9 family and allies and 400 Mawazo. Since at least July 2021, Innocent has an agreement with the Jolly Yon Yon Germain, leader of the 400 Mawazo gang, to work cooperatively. These guys got some funny names, all right? Like, I can't help but crack a little bit of a smile. Innocent was charged with ordering the kidnapping of an American couple, which left the woman dead. Ooh. In 2023, he killed 4 police officers. He is accused of the 2021 Haitian missionary kidnappings. Was added to the list, replacing Jose Rodolfo, a cartel warlord wanted for orchestrating the murder of a Texas lawyer. Okay, yeah, well, there you have it. How much? 5 million, they said? A reward of up to 2 million for this guy. But you probably need to go to Haiti, find him. So, number 3, top 3 here. Number 533, Fausto Flores. The alleged leader of the Mesa Flores transnational criminal organization is wanted for a series of drug-related crimes. He allegedly conspired to manufacture and distribute cocaine, heroin, meth, and marijuana in the U.S. from 2005 to 2019. Oh, look at those chubby little chipmunk cheeks. Just want to pinch them. All right. High-ranking member of the Beltran LaVey cartel. So you probably don't want to pinch his cheeks. How much money are they giving up for this guy? Kingpin shakes. Okay, status. Currently offering up to $5 million for information leading to his capture. Last known residence was in the state of Nuevo Leon. He was reportedly seen with some of his family members at a youth basketball game in San Pedro Garcia. February 4th, he was added to the list. He was the 533rd fugitive to be placed on the list, replacing Donald Eugene Fields, who was wanted for child sex trafficking charges. Eee. Both sound like bad guys. Real bad guys. Okay, so there's Mr. Fausto. This guy looks like he was captured. Who is this? Francisco Bardalis. Was wanted for supporting and providing material for MS-13 throughout the United States, Mexico, and El Salvador. He is also believed to be a senior leader of the gang. In addition, he is also charged with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, racketeering, and human smuggling. Ooh, geesh. Fuck this guy. He was captured in Teocelo, Veracruz, Mexico. Oh, yay, hooray. Well, golf clap. That's good news, yeah. So, a Salvadorian former fugitive. High-ranking member of MS-13. That's no good. Acts of murder, violence, establishing military-style training camps and obtaining military-grade weapons. Believed to have played a role in the expansion into Mexico. Let's see. Yada, yada, yada. For human smuggling charges is when he was arrested. Apprehended. Okay, well, good for us. Good for everybody. Good for the world for having this fucking guy captured. That's good news. And then Ryan James Wedding. We've already heard a lot about him. Number 535, wanted for allegedly running a drug trafficking network that shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia to Canada and the U.S. He also allegedly orchestrated multiple murders, and furtherance of these drug crimes. Look at that guy. Okay. Pro snowboarder turned kingpin. That's kind of an interesting career layout right there. Men's parallel giant slalom events. I don't know what that is. His grandparents owned a ski resort where he learned to snowboard. Should have just stuck with the snowboarding, man. Fraser University dropped out after becoming a marijuana dealer. Well, you know, I guess where he went after a snowboarding career was already foretold, right? I guess old habits die hard, yeah. Iranian and Russian coke smugglers. So that's who he works with, the Iranians and Russians. Redding fled to Mexico and there became a high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel. Wow. So white boy went to Mexico and became a high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel. El Jefe. Oh, El Jefe. I've definitely heard that before. Giants or public enemy. I have heard of this guy. The alleged second in command of Wedding's trafficking ring was arrested in Mexico. Wedding was added to the most wanted list, replacing Alex Flores. Up to $10 million for this guy. Okay, so $10 million for the snowboarder. So there you have it. There's our current list of the 10 most wanted fugitives, FBI's most wanted fugitives. Who is this? Oh, this just randomly popped open. That's right. And before we end the stream, I also wanted to point out, here's, 10 most wanted fugitives again. Let's go back here. So that's not the only 10 most wanted list. I wasn't aware of this, but it turns out there's a lot of most wanted lists. We have the FBI has lists for, they have 10 lists, 10 most wanted terrorists, 10 most wanted crimes against children, 10 most wanted violent crimes, 10 most wanted kidnappings and missing persons, white collar crimes, criminal enterprise investigations, and then seeking information. I don't know what that is. 10 most wanted seeking information? Okay, yeah, I guess. Oh, more than 10. That's a lot. Way more than 10. But there you have it. Okay, so you can get on that, just fbi.gov, and check out all the 10 most wanted lists, because they actually have a lot of them. I was not aware of this. So, but we just went with the 10 most wanted fugitives today. Maybe in a later date, I'll do another stream. This didn't seem like a super popular stream. We'll see how it does on YouTube, but if it does decent, then I'll make another stream regarding these other lists. But in the meantime, that does it for today's Terrifying Tuesdays. That was the history of the FBI's 10 most wanted list and the fugitives on some of the list, all the noteworthy, the idiots, the clever ones, everything in between, all right? So anyway, to anybody who tuned in today, thank you for tuning in and watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Anybody who sees this on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed today's stream. If so, please give it a like and subscribe, and check out some of my other Terrifying Tuesdays in my Terrifying Tuesday playlist. And yeah, I will, if you enjoy this kind of content, tomorrow won't be a Terrifying Tuesday. It'll be kind of in the same vein, actually. Next week will be my next Terrifying Tuesday. I'll be doing Haunted Japan. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 most haunted places in Japan. You can do like 20 of those streams because there's so many haunted places in Japan. But I picked what I thought were the 8 spookiest. So that's what we'll be doing next Tuesday. Tomorrow is my Wildlife Wednesday. And I only have 4 more of these left before I end Wildlife Wednesdays because they are not popular whatsoever. But I'm still going to do them for a week and enjoy them. Tomorrow, I'm continuing my cryptids series, the United States of Cryptids series, and we will be doing Alaskan cryptids tomorrow. I haven't done that, right? Yeah, no, I haven't done that one yet. I remember putting it together, got confused. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow we'll be going over Alaskan cryptids on my Wildlife Wednesdays. And until then, to everybody who is watching, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.